George, Newcastle fan. George, good morning to you.
Hello.
Hello. Well, what we need more than that from you, George. What's your take on the events at the moment right now? Do you think you need to see a change before the weekend? Do you need to see somebody else in there? If so, who?
We need to see a change today. And as Danny Murphy said, he threw a name out the hat and he's Roy Hodgson. Now, we need somebody till the end of the season. We don't need a big name that's going to come in on a 4 or 5 year contract right now. We need somebody that's going to get us over the relegation battle. We're not deep in the trouble as it is at the moment because we've gone seasons before where we've lost 10 games in a row and we've pulled ourselves together. Now, what we need now is a change. Somebody to pull us out of a relegation battle. And Roy Hodgson could do that. And I believe he could. Now, I was at the game yesterday and I was watching the two managers in the technical area. Now, the body language of Steve Bruce compared to the Tottenham manager is totally different. The Tottenham manager, he went 1-0 down. The players weren't playing how they were. He was barking out orders. He was there giving orders left, right and centre. Steve Bruce stood there with his hands in his pockets. We went 2-1 down, still stood there with his hands in his pockets. He knows that he's a dead man walking. Now, it came to the second half, substitutions. We needed to make a change. He wasn't doing anything. Graham Jones came over, talking to him in his ear. A sub came on. Then again, he went back out into the technical area, speaking to Steve Bruce. Two more people.
Okay, right. So basically, George, you would back Danny and say Hodgson for the time being. Yeah,
until the time being, because you can't go for players for managers such as Conte and these sort of names that are being chucked out now.
Yeah,
they're serial winners. They're not going to.
George, can I just ask you? Why would Roy Hodgson want to go and manage your football club?
Roy Hodgson isn't working at the moment, is he? Now, this is a challenge. Now, if he keeps us
So he'll
up,
come to you for a big bag of money, yeah?
No, well, he keeps us up, and then say he takes us to 10th in the league. He could be back the following year, a rolling contract. Who knows? The owners might look at him and think, well, is he...
So now you want him as a long-term solution?
Okay.
Well, you look at Man City. Look at Man City. They had Mark Hughes. He was there for a couple of seasons, I think it was. Under
but Mark Hughes isn't 74 years of age.
Yes,
no, but that's a different argument.
Years of age. But Roy Hodgson's got that footballing knowledge. He's been in that sort of position before, and he's also been near to the top. We've got a team at the moment that we're good at going forward, but we can't defend.
Okay, George, listen, thank you for that. A lot of names flying in, of course, this morning. I mean, Sean Gummer said, Eddie Howe, he'd be the perfect appointment.
Yeah.
He knows how to play the game in the right way and he's out of work.
Absolutely. I saw his contribution towards joining a pressure job like Celtic, and I imagine the pressure will be less at Newcastle, so you want someone with a backbone like that. And obviously his last achievement was relegation at Bournemouth. There you go. There's your blueprint for Newcastle.
Okay. Andrew, another Newcastle fan. What's your take on this and who do you want?
Morning, lads.
Morning.
I think the suggestion of Roy Hodgson's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. Like Simon said, he's 74-year-old. Leave the man to enjoy his retirement. This is a job. It's too big of a job for Roy Hodgson. Yesterday, that game was pretty much the same as the last 18 months. Embarrassing. No tactics. Steve Bruce and other lads have backed him quite a bit over the last few months. But his first season, he basically, his finisher was Rafa Benitez. I had them players.
Okay, well, Andrew, if they're going to change it, who do you want?
Personally, I'd like to see Steven Gerrard. I'd like to see him come in. I know he's already had a big club. He's done a good job there, but he's managing the Scottish League. No disrespect to you, Jim, but it's a Premier League job. I think he'd value the players. Personally, I think I could have done a better job yesterday. We've got a left winger playing left back because the left back they brought in a year ago isn't up to the job. The two centre halves yesterday wouldn't get a game for me on a Sunday morning, and he hasn't changed it. Yesterday, Tottenham and Dombelli walked around for 90 minutes. There wasn't one man. He didn't say to one of them lads in midfield, just stick with him, do a job on him. He's running with ragged. We just played ping pong with him with a team that was much better than
Okay, well, you would go for Gerrard. That's the top and the bottom is you would go for Gerrard at this time, Andrew. Before we're heading to another break, Danny, I'll bring you back in. Stephen, a Newcastle fan's been waiting very patiently. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. Your club is the headline topic of conversation, not for the first time this morning, Stephen. Where are you at with it? Is it time for Steve to go after his 1,000th game in charge in the top flight and pave the way for somebody else? The question is, who is that somebody else?
Yeah, it's definitely time for Steve to go. He's had his time. As the callers I was there yesterday with my son. It was poor.
Yeah.
The first 10, 15 minutes, fantastic. Everyone was up for it. They were really playing off the crowd energy. After that, Tottenham, it was an easy game. They'll not get an easier game this season. For me, I would love to see Graham Potter for Brighton. I think he's done a fantastic job there. I think this was tailor-made essentially though for Rafa Benitez, and I know it was sort of mentioned before. These talks going on for a long time. I think Rafa was the man, but Rafa couldn't hold on. He can't hold on for this job, and I think that's when he took the Everton job.
Okay, Stephen, listen, thank you for that. You would say Graham Potter. I mean, Simon, there is no doubt the new man in there, the chairman, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, and Amanda Staveley, and Jamie Rubin and the rest of them, they face a big dilemma
They
here.
do. They face a challenge. And the challenge is something that people of capability will be able to overcome.
It's a good challenge.
It's a great challenge. They wanted this football club. They've got an inordinate amount of resource behind it. We need to understand who's making decisions, because dollars for donuts, it's not Amanda Staveley. It'll be the Crown Prince beside this ridiculous assertion that the separation has come into play. His own man is in there. You need to get a director of football in there with a very simple brief. You've got to go and find a solution in the next 2 weeks for a manager that can get us over this current problem and build for the future. Away you go and get that. Whoever that director of football is, he's going to be the football brain for the short term, the intermediate and the long term. Not them, not Jamie Rubin, not Amanda Staveley, and not whoever the guy has been brought in from the
So you get a
PIF.
sporting director in and say, this is your job.
This
in
is your
2
job
weeks,
to
you've
bring
got
us, not
somebody
football
in.
agents that are running around thinking this is an opportunity. Here we go. Here's the next load of Johnny Splatter cashes to give us a load of fees. Someone that understands the direction of travel of a football club and understands who can fix this current problem and then who can build from that point onwards.
That's got to be the order of events. I think Simon's spot on.
Well,
Louis Campos said this morning, I don't want to talk about it.
Doesn't matter what order if you get the right man in.
It does matter about the order, Danny.
It doesn't.
It does.
If you get a manager in tomorrow without getting a sporting director, and he
Sporting
keeps,
director, manager.
But Danny,
hold on, you just made a question. I can't
Danny,
finish.
if you don't know what you're asking somebody because you don't know the questions to ask them and you don't know what answers to expect back, then the person who's interviewing the person for the job.
So what you're telling me is nobody at the football club who's able to have a conversation about football with a football manager regarding the job.
I don't think there is. You tell me who you think there is.
I found that remarkable at that whole football club.
Well, look at the group of players they've got there right now.
Right, okay.
So who selected those?
All I'm saying is that the sporting
Who bought Joe Linton?
The sporting director role is needed at some point, whether it's tomorrow or in a month. It doesn't matter if it's later. If the manager they bring in now, whoever's making the decision, is the correct one.
But you've got to have the infrastructure, be able to have the intellectual capital to know what decision to make. When
now,
Man City needed a new direction of travel, they had a basis. When Chelsea had a base, this is the first football club that's been taken over with enormous wealth with no base. Chelsea had a base. Man City had a base. They were ninth in the previous season. Chelsea were fourth. This team are teetering upon relegation with an owner that's been universally loathed, with underinvestment in every aspect of the football club, right? So they're coming into a situation where there's no backdrop for them to be able to have a support structure. They've got to have some knowledge about what decisions they make.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a sporting director. Don't have to get the right sporting director in tomorrow.
Damn sure ain't some scabby football agent coming in thinking he's going to get an opportunity or some half-baked financial advisor.
So you couldn't call Peter Beardsley, Alan Shearer, anybody who's in for anybody. I know Les at QPR, but Newcastle people. You couldn't make a call and say, "Look, you care about this club. Can you give us some advice?" We're not getting a sporting director in just to do this job. We need a sporting director who's going to do the whole thing and get the right one.
You can have
You
those
can do it
conversations.
that way.
You can have those conversations, but there's a good reason with respect to Peter Beardsley and Alan Shearer why they're not managers.
No,
right? So you're asking the blind to lead the blind to some
You
extent.
just said there's nobody at the football club who can have a football conversation, right?
Okay, that's a
So
good
what
answer.
you're
Yeah,
saying,
no,
what
fair
you're
comment.
actually saying is get a sporting director in really quickly tomorrow, even if it's the wrong one. Get him in and let him choose a manager.
No, but
you can't rush a process.
But with respect, Danny, we spoke to Amanda Staveley 3 months ago. You must know within a reasonable level of planning who you would like to sit in positions, and you must have a hit list of sporting directors or people that you think are going to advance the football club, because clearly you don't know what you're doing
Maybe
in
they never
football.
thought they'd get the
Of course they
decision
did.
turned over.
They sat here with us, telling us unequivocally.
Well, okay, if they don't
They
know,
weren't
unequivocally.
walking away.
but
This was gonna
if
happen.
they don't know football, then they didn't have a plan, did they, about who they should have?
So what we're saying now is that
They need one.
in order to make the right decision to get yourself out of this current conundrum, you need to have somebody that understands the landscape.
Yeah.
they don't have somebody there. Now, you're saying Peter Beardsley and Alan Shearer that have great football knowledge of Newcastle and are great footballers.
Can have a conversation.
And they can have conversations with those guys, right?
Yeah.
But they don't know, but the information they're getting back from them, they don't know themselves to disseminate properly.
So they'd only recommend somebody. They'd only recommend somebody. Simon, yes
My
or no?
point is
Will Steve
simple.
Bruce be in charge at Palace at the weekend?
I hope not. For his sake, I hope not. I hope that the change is made, but
He won't be in charge.
I suspect that probably there's a, but based upon yesterday, I would say no.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.